Hello everyone, this is Remlace from 40k Theories, and welcome to the April 2019 edition of the Patreon Q&A sessions. As always, if you would like your questions answered, then click the link in the video description below and help support the channel by becoming a patron. Now, let's jump into the questions. Brent Feast asks, since Eldari have to mate multiple times in order to reproduce, is it theoretically possible for an Eldari female to mate with a different male each time, resulting in a child with multiple biological fathers? It's certainly hypothetically possible, yes, but I don't think it's actually ever been canonically documented. If I wanted to create a homebrew Blood Angel successor that was as close to the Warhammer Fantasy vampire counts as possible, within the confines of 40k lore, how far could I take it before it jumps the shark? Honestly, probably not too far, considering how drastically different the Blood Angels and Vampire Counts lore actually is. You could certainly try, but it might end up being a little bit, for lack of a better term, silly. Have the Mechanicus found the STC for duct tape yet? Yes, but they're still looking for flex tape. Judgment asks, has there been any evidence of the Imperium or the Mechanicus developing technologies of its own, not derived from STCs, or reverse engineering alien technology, besides the recent Primaris Marine technology? I'm sure certain members of the Mechanicus have tried developing it, but typically they get declared as heretics. For anything that's been implemented, I think most technologies in the Imperium have been at least partially derived from an STC. Like with the Land Raider Redeemer, that took a few years before the Mechanicus officially recognised the design, but that was still partially derived from an STC. So I don't think so. Diego Flores asks, will we see a new set of Night Lords for 40k at your office with all the upcoming releases? I hope so. I do want to get those Forge World Horus Heresy Praetors and that Leviathan Dreadnought, because those look absolutely stunning. So yes please. Also, your opinion on the Solar War fiasco. I actually did go into a bit of a rant on that on an episode of Adeptus Podcasters, so check that out. Voice of the Emperor asks, could an Old One take on one or more of the Chaos Gods? Considering that Wild Rider pretty much flat out states that the Old Ones are the Eldari gods, and they all got the crap kicked out of them by Slanesh, I'm gonna say no. Are there anything like Norscan skinwolves in 40k? And I'm not referring to the Curse of the Wolfen. I don't think so, but if anyone does know, please leave a comment below. Leonbos919 asks, with Marnius Calgar becoming a Primaris Marine, do you think we might actually get a named character for the Iron Hands? It would certainly be nice, but knowing Games Workshop, probably not. Brandon A asks, how are the Sisters of Battle reacting to the Imperium Eldari ceasefire/alliance? If they break it because of their zealousness, will it anger the son of their god? I think they're handling it just as well as the Black Templars are. Considering that it's the Inari that Guilliman is working with specifically, if the Sisters of Battle do attack the Inari, I can imagine Guilliman being a little pissed off about it. Has there ever been a case of a Chaos Space Marine leaving Chaos and instead becoming Renegade? I am pretty sure the Night Lord from Sons of the Hydra who joined the Redacted Warband, his original warband fell to chaotic corruption, so he decided to join the Alpha Legion, and the warband he's a part of, their leader is a follower of the Imperial Creed. So take that for what you will. Does Angron still have the butcher's nails inside his head, even as a demon prince? As far as I'm aware, yes. How do they still work? They just do, I guess. Kaiba asks, could the Prosperine portal mace featured in both the Ashes of Prospero and 13th Wolf be connected across universes as well as streams of time itself? I've not listened to 13th Wolf, so I can't really answer this yet, I'm afraid, until I have. I'm sorry. With the confirmation of Imperial demons in the Celestine novel, and the Fenrisian demons in the Wolfsbane, could the spirits of Fenris be somehow empowering Bjorn the Fell-Handed, allowing him to dream even while in stasis and, in effect as a semi-warp entity engaging demons in the warp? I'd like to point out it wasn't actually flat out confirmed in Celestine, it was just stronger implications. As for Bjorn dreaming, it could be a result of the Fenrisian spirits, but as for him being a semi-warp entity fighting in the warp, is he fighting as his Dreadnought self or as his pre-Dreadnought self? The Evil Scotsman asks, just how tall was the Emperor? All art shows him to be as tall, if not taller than the Primarchs, but he would have had to blend in with humanity during modern times. He was average height. This was detailed in Deliverance Lost when Corvus Corax first met the Emperor. The Emperor was of average height, average build. The only thing notable about him was his eyes, which were flecked with every colour. But then, the glimmer that the Emperor cast about himself began to take over, and then Corax saw the Emperor as everyone wants him to see him. You know, the giant in golden armour. Do we know the height of the shortest Space Marine? I don't think so. I think it's at least 7 foot. That's my guess. Iron Warrior 94 asks, are you familiar with a mecha series called Zoids? I know of it, but not enough to answer this question, I'm afraid. Sorry. Zero Hits asks, is there a significant meaning behind the shiny round rubies featured on Horus, Sanguinius, and the Emperor's power armor? Is there a reason why they are usually drawn to look like slitted eyes, or is that just artist interpretation? Well, for Horus they're meant to look like eyes because his symbol is the Eye of Horus. For Sanguinius they're not slitted eyes, they're blood drops. As for the Emperor, yeah, I got nothing for that, sorry. Kenneth asks, out of all the Adeptus Astartes, which one would you consider to have the worst gene flaw? Probably the Space Wolves because A, until the advent of Primaris Marines they could not create successor chapters because of their gene seed, and B, even with Primaris, they're still suffering the curse of the Wolfen, which is pretty messed up considering that Primaris Marines are supposed to be pretty much immune to all gene seed flaws. Not completely, but pretty much. So I'll say Space Wolves have got it worse, even though officially Salamanders have a much more unstable gene seed, by about 15% more. Adilzia asks, how is it that the Tyranids have not triggered the birth of the Chaos God of Unrelenting Hunger? Well, according to the events in Devastation of Baal, they kind of are. The Hive Mind seems to be transitioning into a fully fledged god. Darks asks, what is the status of Quest for Knowledge? It hasn't been cancelled, it's just on the back burner, but it will be done eventually. If the Discord channel manages to create enough lore-friendly characters and RP stories, could we get a spot on the wiki? I don't want to make any promises as of now, and at the same time I don't really want to play favourites. I'm not going to say no, but I can't promise yes either. Sorry. And finally, Morkunama asks, how was your day? Have you done anything fun or special in the past month? Well, thank you very much for asking, that's very sweet of you. My day is so far going okay. And just working, I'm afraid, sorry. Nothing special. And that concludes this edition of the Patreon Q&A sessions. As always, if you would like your questions answered, then click the link in the video description below and help support the channel by becoming a patron. Until next time, this has been Remlace from 40k Theories, and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye.